near side, dangles around the defender, shoots, big blocker save. And now we're going to get some fisticuffs thrown around here. Well, we've been inside for the first 6 or 7 episodes of the Blizz Show podcast, but we've moved out to the rink here this afternoon, this morning, or this evening, wherever you may be listening and whenever you may be listening to the Blizz Show podcast on YouTube and Speaker, brought to you by our friends at H&R Block. We've had forwards, we've had the goalies, we've had the D-men, we've had everybody, so the intro kind of goes out the window with that. But we got one of the 3 college commits with us here today. It's Nick Andrews from Canton, Michigan. Nick, how you doing today, buddy? Thanks for coming on.
Dude, I'm doing all right. Thanks.
You ever done a podcast before?
No, it's the first one.
So the nerves are flying a little bit,
Yeah,
huh?
a little
That's
bit.
right. That's okay. I remember when I did my first show at Arizona State. So I was actually on, funny story, I was on strep throat for my test show.
Ooh.
So first time on the air being on strep throat, that's when you pound the ibuprofen and you hope you get through. And some reason, some way, Blake Bernard, the former sports director, gave me the show. So it works out. So it's okay.
Always does.
Yep. So if you got strep throat, that's the moral of the story. If you got strep throat, keep pounding through. Maybe you'll get the show. But we're here with Nick today, and as mentioned, he's one of the 3 college commits on this team. We're going to get to that a little bit later on in the program, but we start with you in Canton, Michigan. So first of all, where is Canton exactly, and how far is that from Detroit?
It's kind of the lower part of the thumb. It's just a half hour outside of Detroit.
Okay.
So it's not too far. It's a small city, about just probably 100,000 people.
Wow. Would you say it's pretty hockey crazed and a lot of people who love to play hockey there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Our high school's got a couple of big hockey teams and a couple local youth teams, so it's a pretty big hockey city.
And is Little Caesars, which we'll get into, is like the prestigious program to play hockey in Michigan. Is that located in Canton? Where specifically is Little Caesars located?
I'd say all over, kind of. Certain teams will practice at different rinks. So like before, when the Joe was still around, some teams would practice at the Joe, others at Southfield. So it's kind of sporadic throughout Michigan, but all kind of located near each other.
Did you ever get to practice at Little Caesars Arena?
I did.
Oh, I'm so jealous. How is that rink?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Really?
Nothing like I've ever seen before.
Really? Is the ice good and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be surprised at all about that. So, spoil alert, I get to play. I mean, oh gosh, I got to go play out at Little Caesars, man. That was awesome.
Yeah.
So getting to play at the Joe, we got everything at Little Caesars. There's so many things that you probably got to do at Little Caesars. We'll get to that in a little bit. But starting by growing up in Michigan. Now, obviously, Michigan's a really great place to grow up and play hockey. So, but before we get to on the ice, just kind of talk a little bit off the ice. What was life like growing up in Michigan for you?
I think it was great. Most of my family is located in Michigan.
Okay.
I have a few aunts and uncles and grandparents that live outside, but for the most part, family was there, so we were always pretty close with our family.
Okay.
And then hockey was about a half hour, so nothing too far. I heard stories of guys that travel like an hour or two just to come to practice every day, so I was pretty fortunate with that. But growing up, school was good. The first few years of school wasn't all that great. Kind of dreaded going to school every day, but
Why was that?
I'd say just like it's different. I think when you're older, like you become friends with more people.
That makes sense.
And like you kind of look forward to seeing your friends, and like like school's important, obviously. And like growing up, I guess I didn't realize that for the first few years.
Yeah.
So after that, I think school kind of grew on me, and I started liking it. So going to school was a lot better after that.
Nice. I mean, you're 17 years old. Are you excited to get back into the school realm once you go to Colorado College?
Yeah, I am. The block program they have there, one class at a time, I think is going to be great for me.
Yeah. You're just like kind of excited to get back in there and ingratiate yourself and kind of, I mean, in a sense, feel like a kind of normal college kid again. Is that something you're looking forward to?
Yeah. Like this year with Brookings, I'm not going to the real high school. I'm taking online classes, so I think when college comes back around, it'll be nice to like interact with more people and take part in that like real college atmosphere.
And I know we're kind of jumping ahead away from your childhood, but I'm actually curious about your online classes because I graduated from an online high school for 3 years. So I see the value and the importance of doing online classes. What has that been like for you, and have you felt like you've grown as a person and academically? How have those online classes gone for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think discipline's the biggest thing. Like at school, like you have to do your work or else your grades will slip.
No question.
And so I think like online classes, like all your assignments and stuff are due at the end. So you have to have the discipline to like do your load each day
Right.
and kind of stay up with the workload. So I think it's taught me a lot about myself, just kind of like making sure that I'm a disciplined kid. And right now my grades are pretty good, so I'm pretty happy.
I wouldn't be surprised. You're calm, you're a humble young man, so your grades are probably A+. Mr. and Mrs. Andrews, great job on that. So going back to your childhood a little bit, just growing up in Michigan, and you mentioned what it's like there in a really small town, really good place to play hockey. But so away from the ice, was there somebody in your family or somebody in your life that you've really looked up to the most, or you've kind of relied on to be that role model in your life?
I think it's my parents.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds a little cliche, but they mean the world to me,
Yeah.
and they've sacrificed so much for me, and like I can't thank them enough. And just kind of like my dad still plays and my grandpa still plays, so growing up and watching them play, it was something really special, and that got me into it and never looked back.
Would you say, you mentioned that got you into it. When you watched your dad play, was that something like, oh, I got to go play hockey, like that's what I want to do with the rest of my life?
Yeah. Both my dad and grandpa are goalies, so
really?
I grew up wanting to be a goalie, but my dad said no.
Really?
Goalies get crazy, but I don't know. I guess like having them be a goalie, I can respect goalies a little more.
Yeah.
And like like goalies have like a name put on them for being a little crazy because they're a goalie, but I think it takes someone special to stand in front of a 100-mile-an-hour shot. So
I tried to do that, and it didn't go very well for me. I ended up getting 7 stitches in my leg eventually, so I couldn't even play goalie. I mean, people have heard that story on the broadcast many times through Hockey TV, but yeah, you mentioned goalies. They have their own little weird fraternity. They have their own little weird quirks and everything. I mean, McLean was on the show and is just talking about what he does during the game and how he talks to himself. But another reason why your dad may not have wanted you to play was because those pads are so daggone expensive, right?
Yeah, they're crazy expensive nowadays, but I think it's kind of funny, like even though I'm not a goalie, I kind of feel like a goalie because I'm always like watching like biggest saves on YouTube or customizing my own goalie pads on different websites. So
that's awesome.
It's kind of funny, but
then you're also your own goalie in your sense because you're playing defense and blocking shots on the penalty. So you could still be a goalie in some sense. So you always have that with you. So when you got past your childhood and you went into high school, now let's get into Little Caesars. Little Caesars, for those who do not know, it quite simply put, is one of the most prestigious places in the United States to go play junior hockey and become a development player, whether it's Pee-wees, Bantams, whatever it is. So you started when you were 10 years old playing for Little Caesars. Kind of just for someone who doesn't know what Little Caesars is, and kind of just put it into layman's terms what exactly it is and how that has helped you become a better hockey player.
Yeah, it's kind of like a branch off of like it's supposed to be like the Red Wings, like I guess affiliate
kind
team.
Of affiliates, yeah.
Yeah, so it was special growing up and like getting to practice at the Joe and like just like being a part of that atmosphere and like not only like a good hockey team but like they wanted good like young men. Yeah. So it was important. I think it kind of shaped me who I was. Like both as a person and a player. Like you had to come to the rink every day, and you had to be ready. It wasn't like you could have. It was fun, but it was business. And like I said, I think it shaped me into the player that I am today.
What's the biggest takeaway? You mentioned how it's made you be a better person. Let's focus on that for a second. Just kind of how it's made you a better person. What specifically are those details and how that came about?
I would say just like realizing how fortunate I am. Like not everybody gets to practice at the Joe or Little Caesars Arena.
Right.
And like I think just take advantage of it. Just work your hardest every day, and like I said, take advantage of it. Yeah.
So when on the hockey side of things, was there a coach or were there some players or was there a specific moment during your time at Little Caesars that's always going to stick with you for the rest of your life?
I think it was this past year with our two coaches, Brian Rolston and Keith Aldridge.
Hold on, Brian Rolston, the NHL player?
Yep.
Oh, you're kidding me.
Yeah.
You're kidding me. Keep going.
Yeah. They were really focused on the details, and I think growing up I kind of missed out on that, like just the importance of it. Like, every aspect of the game's important, but like winning your battles in the corner, like the stick presentation as a defenseman, getting your shots to the net, just that little thing that I think that's got me here to where I am now.
Definitely.
just is so important.
And you definitely get in those dirty areas. It's been definitely evident in the first part of this season. So coming into Brookings, now you go from Little Caesars. You've been in Michigan kind of your whole life, basically. Mm-hmm. You're kind of away from home for the first time. Is that an accurate statement?
Yep.
So you're here in Brookings, South Dakota, in the middle of the Midwest. You're about maybe a day drive away from home. You can get in the car and just drive home whenever you want to. But before we get into actually on the ice so far here in Brookings, kind of just talk about what life has been like being on your own for the first time and away from home.
It's been different for sure. Yeah. Like just like being more responsible. Like picking up after yourself's been a little different, but
I remember that.
yeah. But like I said earlier, I think it's one of the things that has taught me a lot about myself. Just being more responsible, making sure you're getting the right nutrition and sleep, and just not having, like, you don't have your parents here to remind you to do certain stuff. So just being more responsible, and it's taught me a lot about myself.
And we'll get into this in just a second when we talk about Colorado College, but you happen to have a friend here as well who you played at Little Caesars with, and that's Sam Antonucci.
Yep.
What's it been like to be able to have a friend like him, someone you can relate to and talk to maybe about, if you're homesick, you can go like, oh, man, remember when we used to practice at the Joe, or Little Caesars, remember went to Red Wings games or something like that? Has that been something that you really just see as kind of a blessing in disguise maybe?
Yeah, I think so. Like, just coming to the team, like, most guys don't really know anyone, but I was pretty fortunate. Sam's here with me. We're roommates, so that, like you said, it makes things a lot easier. It's just kind of taking like the homesick away, I guess, a little bit. Like,
absolutely.
We're always busy. We're playing ping pong or playing video games or just kind of hanging out. So
on a lighter note, are you a Fortnite guy?
You
could say no because I'm absolutely not, and I've never played it, so I just never saw the appeal to it. But
yeah,
Leach was on a couple of weeks ago, and Leach is just like, oh yeah, I love it so much, I play it all the time. Like, grow up. No,
yeah.
That's what I was saying to myself.
I mean, I play once in a while, but I think I'm more of an NHL guy.
That's what I'm talking about. Pounder right there. Get that.
Right
there you go. That's my man right there. All right, now on the ice specifically, so you've played every game this year with the Blizzard so far, and you're more than likely going to be doing that because you've established yourself as probably one of the top 3 guys of defensemen on this team. You're stout with the puck. You can move it from side to side. You can skate backwards efficiently, like anybody I've seen at the junior level. So you clearly have the skill to be here. On the ice, have you really enjoyed your time with the boys, and what do you need to do as a personal goal to kind of leave here before you go to Colorado College next year to make sure you had a great experience here?
On the ice, I just think, like, biggest thing for me, I think, is make sure I'm working my best in practice. I think, like, that's one of the biggest things that may not be taken advantage of, but practice is something that is going to get you to the next level.
Definitely.
And I think the focus sometimes, like, I guess in junior hockey or youth hockey, like, isn't always there. Guys don't always realize, like, the importance of it. But I think coming to the rink every day with that mentality that you're going to move on is something you need.
Absolutely. So specifically now, when we get into before we get into Colorado College, how do you feel like your season has gone thus far as it pertains to the evolution of your game? Do you feel like you've made good strides so far this year?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, the first couple games were a little nerve-wracking, but I think I held my own, and we've only played about 7 games so far, so I think the confidence is starting to come up. Just kind of being out there, knowing you're a guy.
Yeah.
Like, you need to be somebody that the team looks up to. So I think that's helped my confidence a lot.
So off the ice, you've been in Brookings now for about a month. What's it been like here in Brookings? Have you enjoyed your time here so far?
Yeah, it's been great. The people are so nice. It's a really welcoming city.
It is.
I maybe didn't hear the best things. It's kind of plain, like when I first came, but seeing the city that it's in, it's not plain at all. There's stuff to do. So it's been great so far.
Yeah, and everybody's so nice. I haven't met a single rude person here, which is absolutely amazing. So, but before we get into Colorado College and then the rapid fire segment, one of the things that recently happened to you was you were announced to the scouting list for the C team for scouts players to watch for the up-and-coming draft. So for those who don't know what that is, ABC list, he was on the C list, and that means he's looked at as a potential 4th, 5th, or 6th round pick in this upcoming NHL draft. You know, you and I talked about it off camera a little bit about what that meant to you, but for the audience, kind of just describe what that moment was like for you, who'd you told first, and just the emotions that were running through your body.
Yeah, like I said when we were talking, my dad sent me a picture of the list, and it was something special. Like, just my parents sacrificing so much, and for it to not, I guess it hasn't paid off necessarily yet. Because
I would say it's paid off because you got a scholarship. I'd say it's paid off.
Yeah, but it was special.
I bet, man.
Yeah, like there's so many names on that list of elite players that to have my name on that list is something special.
So you are headed to Colorado College next year in Colorado. And first of all, before we get into on the ice and going there with Sam, as mentioned, what appealed to you in the first place to go to Colorado College?
I think the biggest thing for me were the coaches. Coach Havlin, Coach RJ, and Coach Hayward are some of the best coaches in college hockey, in my opinion. They're so welcoming, but at the end of the day, they want to win, and it matches my goal. So I think it's a good fit there.
Yeah.
And then the campus is so nice.
I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, the mountains in the background is unbelievable.
Coming from a South Dakota kid and now in Arizona, I love waking up and looking at mountains. So you hit the jackpot with that.
Yeah.
You excited to play in that rink? Because I heard that rink is really nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an unbelievable rink. It's going to be sweet to play there, to pack the stands. And I actually got to go watch one of their games versus Denver.
Against Denver. Oh, my gosh. So, that's like Avs versus Red Wings almost. That's crazy.
The crowd was nuts, but it was a really good experience.
Yeah, and you'll get to be a part of that. That's really exciting for you. But lastly, the last thing is you get to go there with Sam. Like I mentioned, you're kind of you guys are just stuck together basically. So whether you like each other or not, you got to deal with it. But you kind of like each other because you're roommates, so you like it. But just kind of bring that level of comfort for you, knowing the fact that, hey, we did this together in Brookings. Now we get to go do this at the big-time level, at the NCAA level. Does that bring comfort for you?
Yeah, I think so. We both hold each other accountable, so it's something that, like, both of us are looking to strive on, and I'm looking forward to being a part of it.
Well, I'll definitely be watching, that's for sure, wherever it is. I don't know, do you know where you can watch the games at on Colorado College? Like, are they on TV, or do you have any idea? Because I got to figure out a way to watch.
A couple of their games will be on TV, but I think most will just be online somewhere.
Well, I definitely will be watching, that's for sure. Congratulations, buddy. You should be really proud of that. But support for the Blizz Show podcast is brought to you by our friends out at H&R Block, the glorious part of the segment. That's a new first word I've said as it pertains to describing me talking to you guys about H&R Block. The tax reform is going to be affecting everyone's next tax return. So if you don't want to be surprised at tax time next year, you got to go visit H&R Block to find out how it's personally going to affect you and your taxes. If you're in the Brookings or Watertown area, new clients can go see Wayne Negstad, and be sure to tell him the voice of the Blizzard, that's me, Weston DeWitt, sent you for a 25% discount off of your first tax preparation. The H&R Block in Brookings is located at the University Mall here in Brookings, and for more information, call 605-692-5715. Again, that's 605-692-5715. I usually have the paper in front of me, but for some reason it wouldn't print this morning, so the glorious magical phone is what got me through that. But we appreciate our support from H&R Block. The glorious part of the program where fans and players love this part is the rapid fire segment, where we ask 5 questions to the boys, hockey related, not hockey related. Anything is no holds bar with this segment. So Nick, first of all, you're a Red Wings fan. We talked about it all the time, and we are compatriots as we are both Red Wings fans, even though we're suffering right now. But the first question is, do you trust Ken Holland and his system to get the Red Wings back to the days when it was Fedorov and Shanahan and Yzerman? Do you trust Ken Holland can do that?
I think so.
Really?
Yeah, I think a lot of people have doubts in him, but
I'm one of those people.
Yeah, he's been there and he's gone through it and he knows what it takes to win. So, I mean, I know like I said, a lot of guys don't like him, but I think we'll get there one day.
I think everybody would feel this way if they brought back Steve Yzerman, the general manager. How would that be? So cool, right?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, just to see his success in Tampa has been something special to watch. So, I mean, like I said, I think Ken Holland can do it, but he would be a good fit here.
Sticking with the Red Wings theme, when you go to Colorado, so unfortunately those rivals of Colorado, we apologize to our Colorado viewers, but you're going to be in Colorado. You're going to be relatively close to the Pepsi Center. So when the Red Wings come to play the Avalanche, the question has to be asked is, are you going to pull it off and rock that Red Wings jersey in that hostile Pepsi Center crowd?
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
okay. That's good. You know what? That's good. I rocked the Coyotes jersey in there once, and I didn't get beer thrown on me, so I think it's okay. You'll be fine. And plus, there's a lot of Red Wings fans. They travel well, don't they?
Yeah. They have a really good fan base.
I think you'll be fine. Away from the rink now and outside of the Red Wings, which we'll get back to in just a second, there is one more Red Wings question. So outside of the rink, you mentioned video games is something you like to do. What's your favorite hobby outside the rink?
During the summer, I think my two biggest hobbies would be just kind of hanging out at our cottage. I'm a big fisherman, so I like to fish a lot, and golf.
What's the biggest fish you caught?
I'd say I caught a couple pike over the summer.
Nice.
Nothing too big, but I'm more of a bass guy.
Okay.
Largemouth.
I went deep sea fishing in Hawaii once. Caught a
Oh.
56-pound mahi-mahi.
Wow. Did you
At the
cook
time,
it?
At the time, I didn't like fish, so
Oh,
I made that mistake. Now I
Missing
love
out.
it. I'm missing out. And it was 2008. What was I? I was 14 years old, so I was still a boisterous and kind of stubborn young man, so unfortunately. But we
Yeah.
do need to go back. Mom and Dad, if you're watching, we need to go back to Hawaii. So if I'm going to Detroit, which I've been a couple of times. Now, I've been to Hockey Town. Best restaurant. I love Hockey Town, the restaurant there in Detroit. But if I'm going to go to Detroit again, I have to ask the Detroit man himself, which restaurant must I go to or will anyone go to who watches this podcast?
I'm gonna go outside of the box and say Green Dot.
Okay. What is
Green Dot is it was like a horse. It was kind of like a barn turned into a restaurant, so it's got like a different feel to it, but
Okay.
it's more of like a slider place.
Okay.
Burgers. I'm a big burger guy, so
You don't look like it. You look you're in shape. So
Yeah.
you look like you're in shape. You don't eat that many burgers.
but yeah, I can go for a good burger now and then, but
Okay.
it's kind of like it's an individual slider place, so like you order as many sliders as you want. They're individual.
Okay.
And they have a whole list, but I think that's like outside of the box, that's a good place to go.
Well, Green Dot. I'm going to write that down. Green Dot. That's bad radio, folks. I'm sorry. We're killing time. But Green Dot, I will go. Okay, last question. Back to the Red Wings. This is a very important necessity. My old man would be very proud that I'm asking this question. So out of the Russian Five, the most notorious group in Detroit Red Wings history as far as I'm concerned, out of the Russian Five, who was the best? From the Red Wings fan himself, who was it?
Vladimir Konstantinov.
My old man is going to give you a big old hug when he sees you. He loves Vladimir Konstantinov, but I gotta say Sergei Fedorov, man. I think that guy, just the way he moved that puck and that story too. If you read the book by Keith Gave, which I will highly advertise on this podcast, even though he's not paying me a dime, that is a great book. Make sure you guys go read it. But the story of Sergei Fedorov just was so captivating to me. The way that they went in there, the way they got him to the States was so amazing. And you got to read that book.
Yeah.
Read the book.
What's it called?
It's called The Russian Five. It's
Russian
down in
Five.
the office. I'm going to give it to you as soon as we're done. You got to read the book.
I will.
It is good stuff. The Red Wings fan. I'm surprised you haven't read that. Very interesting.
No, yeah.
You don't do a lot of reading, do you?
Not too much.
Okay.
I'll read a book from time to time.
If it's
but
about the Red Wings, you have to.
Oh,
Nice.
everything's about hockey.
Absolutely. That's right, my man. All right, that's Nick Andrews, folks. But before we let him go, we usually like to make sure that you guys can go follow him on social media and make sure you guys go check out his Instagram page, Twitter page. Where can fans follow you on Instagram?
Nicholas Andrews. Just NICKLASANDREWS.
Do you prefer Nicholas or Nick?
I go by either.
Okay,
I think
good.
Nick's a little easier sometimes.
On the broadcast, I've been saying Nick.
Yeah.
And I'm going to
good.
make sure if Mom and Dad have a problem with it, you can email me. Don't worry. Is it Nicholas or Nicholas? What do you want from the future?
Nick's good.
Done.
Nick.
And that is a wrap. Nick Andrews, folks. That's out of Kent, Michigan. The Detroit Red Wings faithful. We are very, very solidly sad over what the Red Wings have done, but hopefully they pull it together. That's Nick Andrews, folks, of the Blizz Show podcast. We'll be back next week with another fresh episode. Nick Andrews, Weston DeWitt. We're gone.